Very good afternoon to all of you. So we have to start with Marx, and last class we finished with Mill. So if Mill is known as liberal, on what grounds he is known as liberal? What are the reasons why he is known as Mill? If anyone is liberal, it is Mill. So why he is known as liberal? What? Absolute liberty. कहाँ पर दिया है? Self-regarding. But he is known as the prophet of empty liberty. Why is known as liberal? First, he brought liberty back into utilitarianism by differentiating between pleasure and happiness, right? Then his so much of emphasis and focus on what? Freedom of speech and expression. Then his vocal support for democracy, and then the rights he is giving to women. But at the same time, if he is known as liberal, his concept of liberty is empty liberty. He is known as a reluctant Democrat, and he destroyed utilitarianism. So there is a lot of inconsistency. So most important question which is relevant from exam point of view is, if he is liberal, why he is known as inconsistent thinker, or his concept of liberty is seen as empty liberty. Why his concept of liberty is empty liberty? Yes, because the way he has differentiated between self-regarding and other regarding. By differentiating this self-regarding and other regarding, he has given a lot of power in the hands of state, and he has brought the metaphysical concept, that is the concept of real will. That real will of the individual is not to die, and this has, through this he is giving a lot of power in the hands of state. So समझ आ गया मिल फिर? Now Marx. Now you will better able to understand Plato through Marx. So once we'll finish Marx, you will have a better understanding of Plato, because Marx will going to praise Plato or criticize Plato. Why Marx will criticize Plato? Why Marx will criticize Plato? False consciousness. Plato is idealist, idea is real. And for Marx, idea is false consciousness. Plato has told lie. When Plato said the important work for the society is, which work Plato is saying is more important for the society? Who should be ruler? Whose work is more important according to Plato? Intellectual work is more important. For Marx, which work is more important? Labor is more important. And Plato has told lies. Intellectuals has told lies by emphasizing this, that intellectual work is more important than the labor. So for Marx, whose work is more important? Work of labor. So power should be in the hands of whom? Workers. So that's why Marx is materialist, and for Plato, intellectuals have just spread what? False consciousness. हाँ जी. हाँ, so बेंथम तो मेटेरियलिस्ट है ही, इसमें क्या बात हुई? हाँ, बेंथम तो मेटेरियलिस्ट है ही. Locke, Bentham, Mill, they all are what? Who all are the scholars of capitalist class? They are materialist. Okay? Those who say that property rights should be given, they are materialist. Okay. Marx is saying social ownership, but Marx is also materialist, that workers needs to see their materialist condition, and they should not fall into the trap of what? Ideas. Ideas are false consciousness. Even the idea of God, things which you can't see is not real. For Plato, things which you are seeing is not real. So for Marx, which you can't see is not real. For Plato, which you are seeing is not real. Real is something else. And for Marx, no, it is just spreading what? False consciousness. God is an idea, which is a false consciousness. Okay? Like Karl Marx, the most influential philosopher. Most influential philosopher of all times. Most influential philosopher of all times. Full stop. It was the influence of his ideas. देख लो एक बार मार्क्स की शक्ल, ठीक है. It was the influence of his ideas that the world remained divided into two blocks. World remained divided into two blocks. That is the capitalist and the communist. Capitalist and communist. Next bullet point. Marx is considered as the enemy of capitalism. So if anyone will ask you, what is the biggest relevance of Marx? What you will say? What is the biggest relevance? Why is known as one of the most important philosopher or influential? What is his biggest contribution? Where you see the biggest contribution of Marx? एक second. हाँ बता. Critique of capitalism. नहीं. His biggest relevance is that he made capitalism humane. ठीक है ना, ये उसकी सबसे बड़ी अचीवमेंट है. Who understood his idea in a better way? Capitalist. And if he is known as the enemy of open society, which few of you will understand later, that he pushed violence in the society, he is enemy of open society, it is because of his followers. So who misinterpreted his ideas? His followers. Who better followed his ideas? The capitalists. So his biggest relevance, एक छोटा सा box बना के लिख लो, his biggest relevance is that he made capitalism more humane. ठीक है ना, ये उसकी biggest achievement है. He made capitalism more humane. Okay, so capitalists were threatened by the ideas of Marx, and they realized it's high time we need to reform. Okay, so he made capitalism humane. Emergence of welfare state. ये भी लिख सकते हो आप. Concept of welfare state. अगर हमने welfare state नहीं बनाया तो हम गए. Okay, concept of welfare state. समझे? Next bullet point. Marx is considered as enemy of capitalism. Full stop. Marx dead or alive? जब जिंदा था तब भी परेशान थे, मरने के बाद भी इसने कैपिटलिस्ट को चैन नहीं लेने दिया. Marx dead or alive? Continues to haunt the capitalist world. Dead or alive, continues to haunt the capitalist world. And his book Das Capital, underline this, अभी मत पढ़ना, आप मसूरी जाके पढ़ लेना है book, ठीक है? And his book Das Capital became the best-selling book after 2008 financial crisis. His book Das Capital, DAS Capital तो पता ही है, Das Capital became the best-selling book after the financial crisis. After the 2008 financial crisis, full stop. Next bullet point. For the followers of Marx, he was God. He was God. Unfortunately, Marx was God who has failed. Marx was God who has failed. So for his followers, he was what? God. अभी लिखवाऊंगा. For he wants to, Marx used to project himself as scientist, and he has given his ideas as science. Okay. So he used to project himself as scientist, but his followers started seeing in Marx what? God. And the saying goes, he was God for his followers, but he failed. Why he failed? Because stateless society never emerged. Okay, so his ideas remained utopian. Gandhian Ram Rajya and Marx stateless society both remained utopian ideas. In reality, what Marx was trying to achieve was never been achieved. At max, what he was against the party system. Okay, what has been achieved at max is not the stateless society, but in reality, what emerged was the not even the dictatorship of proletariat, that is dictatorship of working class. What emerged was the dictatorship of communist parties, both in Soviet and in China. And he was against the party system. So what Marx said was never been achieved. Bracket mein likh lo, his ideas remained utopia. As communist state never came into being. So communist state का मतलब था stateless. As his ideas remain utopia, as stateless, classless society never been achieved. So this is the reality of life, and in the history, whosoever has rejected the God, people have started seeing that person itself as God, because who can reject God? God himself. ठीक है, तो आप जहां गॉड को रिजेक्ट करोगे थोड़े टाइम में लोग आपको क्या बना देंगे? गॉड. Okay, so Marx rejected God and followers started seeing him as God. Next bullet point. Right, socialism is an economic doctrine. Socialism is an economic doctrine, and it emerged in response to economic doctrine, and it emerged in response to capitalism. So it was the capitalist scholars who started demanding what? Liberties, because capitalism evolved out of feudalism. And in feudalism, what kind of relations of production were prevailing? Lords and serfs. So capitalists started demanding what? Liberties. But demand of too much liberties led to the exploitation of many, because liberty was overshadowed by utilitarianism. So capitalists were demanding liberty, but too much of liberty led to the exploitation. This led to the rise of socialism. Okay. So first flag bearer of equality. Who were the first flag bearer of equality? Liberals, capitalists. But who eventually became the flag bearer of equality? Socialist. So at present, when we associate the word liberty with liberal scholars. And liberals demand what kind of equality? Equality before law, equality of opportunity. And socialists aspire for which kind of equality? Equality of outcomes. So for socialist, liberal concept of equality is just a procedural equality. Right? It's an economic doctrine, and it emerged in response to capitalism. So capitalism started emerging, bracket 17th century. Socialism started emerging around 19th century. Okay. Full stop. Socialists were troubled. Socialists were troubled by seeing the exploitation of the poor working class. Full stop. Socialism is a system where where the means of production are owned by the society. Means of production are owned by society means ownership over the, who owns the ownership over the means of production? Societies. No private ownership. All means of production are owned by society. Common ownership. Okay. So is it like this that industrial society is possible only under capitalism, or it is possible to have industrial society through socialism? Socialism, where all means of production are owned by the people, the society. Okay. Collective ownership, right? Means of production are owned by society, or social ownership over the means of production. Or social ownership over the means of production. Full stop. Next bullet point. Socialists have talked about the importance of human dignity and socio-economic equality. And socio-economic equality. Full stop. Socialism suggests that man is social by nature. Man is social by nature and must understand the role of society. Must understand the role of society. And thus, socialism was against the doctrine of possessive individualism. Thus, socialism was against the doctrine of possessive individualism. What is possessive individualism? Everything belongs to individual, and individual is not liable towards the society. Who was tagged as the scholar of possessive individualism? Locke. And Locke is a scholar of which class? Capitalist class. यहाँ bracket में लिखो, capitalist demands liberty. Capitalists were demanding liberty, which actually means liberty to make profit. Ability to make profit. Capitalism denotes private ownership over the means of production. Private ownership over the means of production. And in capitalism, the motive of production is profit rather than need. And in capitalism, the motive of production is profit rather than need. So next lecture will come to know socialists were emphasizing we should generate as much which is we should generate that much which is required. And capitalism unnecessarily is pushing what? Greed. And it is based only on profit, not on need. Each according to his ability and each according to his need is the principle pushed by whom? Socialist. Okay? So capitalism is based on profit, not based on need. Next bracket close kar lo. In continuation, according to socialist, industrial society can be based on socialistic principles. On socialistic principles. And what is socialistic principle? Common ownership. ठीक है ना? Social ownership or common ownership. Next bullet point. Right. Though liberals. Who is the first liberal? Locke. Okay, ये liberal scholars say. Though liberals also believe in equality. Bentham believe in equality? All are men of pleasures and state should frame policy where everyone should be free to make profit. So Bentham came out of this notion or not, that there is nothing called men of reason and men of appetite. So for Bentham, all are equal or not? Yes. For Locke, all are equal or not? Yes. So first one to stand for equality are whom? Liberals. भूल जाते हो बार बार. Though liberals also believe in equality. But liberal concept of equality is equality before law. सब law के सामने same है. Equality before law and equality of opportunity. And equality of opportunity. What kind of policies Bentham is expecting from the state to follow to maximize profit, and everyone should be free to maximize its profit. Okay. Equality before law and equality of opportunity. Everyone has a equal, everyone should have equal opportunity to maximize their pleasure and equated pleasure with profit. While socialist concept of equality is equality of outcomes. Equality of outcomes. Full stop. According to socialist, liberal concept of equality is formal and procedural. बस formal equality की बात कर रहे हैं वो. You are organizing race, allowing everyone to participate in race. Is just what kind of equality you are imparting? Formal or procedural? Because you are not giving everyone equal amount of. In which sense? You are not giving everyone equal what? People have different, people can afford different types of training. They are having different types of diets. So first state should ensure that everyone should get same amount of resources, diets, trainings. Then that range, then it will mean that we have conducted what kind of race? A race based on the parameter of equality. Is formal and procedural, and their concept of equality. And their concept of equality is substantive. Concept of equality is substantive. Take. Is equality of outcomes possible? No. And who aspired to assure equality of outcomes? Communist state, Soviet. But this led to what? Disintegration, because state took what away from the people? First lecture, incentives to work hard, that is entrepreneurship. Okay. So equality of outcomes not possible. At max, what we can assure is equality of opportunity. We'll stop. Next bullet point. Right. Socialist wants to make people equal. Socialist wants to make people equal in socio-economic sense. Equal in socio-economic sense, and not just in moral sense. And not just in moral sense. That is, in terms of human dignity. Okay. So for for socialist, capitalist, liberal wants to make people in terms of people equal in terms of moral sense only, dignity. Okay, everyone has a equal dignity, but their concept of equality is just a formal equality. Real equality is economic equality. Okay, so every socialist aspires for equality. Yes, socialism is an umbrella term, and Marx's socialism is communism. So every communist is socialist? Yes. But is every socialist communist? No. Because socialist ideas, we are aspiring to achieve economic equality. Our idea of socialism is how we want to achieve our socialist ideas through democracy, democratic socialism. Okay. So Marx socialism is communism. Next bullet point. Socialists have major disagreement over state. Socialists have major disagreement over state. So there are few socialists who believe in state-led socialism, and there are socialists who believe in state-less socialism. Who looked for state-less socialism? Marx. It remained utopia. Okay, even Nehru was socialist, and Nehru's socialism is state-led socialism, and they are known as Fabian socialist. Okay, Fabianism. Likho. Major disagreement over states. Full stop. Some believe in state-led socialism. That is Fabian socialism. We'll discuss this under the ideology of socialism in detail. Fabian socialism. So they are, if anyone is Fabian socialist, what it means? Believe in socialist principle, but believe in state. Fabian socialism.
So please repeat.
Some believe in state-led socialism, that is Fabian socialism, while others believe in state-less socialism. State-less socialism. That is Marxist socialism. Or communism. And Gandhian socialism. And Gandhian socialism. So Gandhian socialism and Marxist socialism is stateless. That's why both are known as anarchist. Now Gandhi suggested how we can achieve stateless through non-violent means. Marx is recommending we want to achieve stateless through violent means. Though both end goal for both is same, means are different. Okay? Likho. Right, socialism is an umbrella concept. Socialism is an umbrella concept. Comma, the common link between the socialist between the socialist is their concern for equality. ये common link है. Is their concern for equality. Full stop. Marx was convinced that socialism can come only through the violent overthrow of capitalism. Convinced that socialism can come only through the violent overthrow of capitalism. Means kill capitalist and kill capitalist. Now violent overthrow, kill capitalist. But who But who does not allow the killing and consider killing is wrong? Gandhi means who means religion, God, the concept of religion, and God says that we should not kill the fellow human being. Okay, so that's why Marx first said the idea of God itself is false. You do not fall into the trap because the notion of God is created by whom? The intellectual capitalist. Okay, and you need to see your material condition first, that you are poor. See your conditions, and you are poor not because of God. You are poor because capitalist has accumulated so much of wealth. So it's totally right if you are killing capitalist, right? Only through the violent overthrow of capitalism, full stop. In the words of Marx, in the world of Marx, comma, inverted comma, violence is the midwife of social change. Violence is the midwife of social change. And there has been no birth without blood. And there has been no birth without blood. Inverted comma, close. So according to Marx, it is not possible. No new birth has ever taken place without blood. Blood is must. So violence is the midwife. Someone also has said the same. Indian revolutionary who said in the similar lines. Yeah? What he said? ये खून दो, मैं तुम्हें राय दूंगा. So without blood, there is not possible to have freedom. Okay. So that's why Marxist revolutions, we associate which color with Marxist revolution? Red. Because he said no birth without blood. The reason for the red color. Okay. Next bullet point. Right. Communism remained the utopia of Marx. The utopia of Marx. And Marxist socialism is known as communism. This socialism is known as communism. And it is the ideal state. And it is seen as Marx's ideal state. Seen as Marx's ideal state. Okay. So which is the ideal state of Marx? Stateless, classless. Full stop. Both Marx and Gandhi's ideal state. Both Marx and Gandhi's ideal state is stateless society. Ideal state is stateless society. Full stop. That is why both are considered as anarchist. Both are considered as anarchist. Next bullet point. Anarchy in literal sense means the absence of state. Absence of state. Full stop. There are two ways in which scholars have defined anarchy. So anarchy का interpretation भी अलग-अलग है. Two ways in which scholars have defined anarchy. First, Hobbesian view. First is Hobbesian view. How Hobbes has interpreted anarchy? War of all against all. Okay. Hobbesian view. According to this view, anarchy is painful. Anarchy is painful, comma, and the life of man will be in chaos. Life of man will be in chaos. Second, Marxian Gandhian view. According to this view, anarchy is the state of perfect freedom. Anarchy is a state of perfect freedom or happiness. And state is an instrument of exploitation. State is an instrument of exploitation. Okay, and according to this view, man is social by nature. Man know how to live in peace with each other. And according to this view, man is social by nature. ठीक. Okay, so for Marxists, what state is? Instrument of exploitation. Who created it? Capitalist bourgeois class. Okay, for idealists, what state is? Outcome of organic evolution, instrument of virtue. For liberals, what state is? Man-made institution. Okay, state is necessary evil. For Marxist, state is exploitative. So for different scholars and philosophers, they all have interpreted state differently or not? Yes. Think. Right. For both Marx and Gandhi. For both Marx and Gandhi, the end goal is same. But the methodology to reach that goal is different. End goal is same, but the methodology to reach that goal is different. So Gandhi has always emphasized more on means than goals. Methodology to reach that goal is different. Full stop. Gandhi believes in peaceful means. While Marx believes in violent overthrow of capitalism. Believes in violent overthrow of capitalism. Gandhi was a believer of religion and God or not? So Gandhi used to believe in religion or God, right? Gandhi's terminology, Ram Rajya itself, and Gandhi used to draw a lot of inspiration from the religious text. And Marxist has outrightly rejected the concept of religion. So for Marxists, Gandhi is a scholar of which class? Capitalist bourgeois class. So that's why Marxists were they have not supported Gandhian movement, because for them, Gandhi is just trying to serve the interest of capitalist bourgeois class, and Congress is fighting for the interest of capitalist bourgeois class. And they believe that who has acquired power in India? Capitalist. And Marxist scholars do not consider Indian national struggle, Indian national movement as the freedom movement also. Okay. So there are different perspective towards the Indian national movement. And this is the topic of your paper 1 part B. Okay. Different perspectives of Indian national movement. So nationalist sentiment and nationalist view is that yes, it was a freedom movement. colonial perspective and colonial view is that was it a freedom movement? No, it was a communal movement where leaders were communal who were fighting for their own power politics. For Marxist socialists, what it was? Movement of bourgeois class. And for Ambedkarites, what it is? The movement of upper caste to keep their power intact. So हमारी freedom struggle national movement थी भी या नहीं? There are different perspectives to this. हाँ फरदीन.
Sir, ये जो anarchist है, can it be compared to like state of nature? क्योंकि उसमें भी like there's no one ruling.
हाँ, so they are saying it's not about state of nature. They are saying state should not be there. Stateless they are talking about. Because they are talking about stateless, that's why they are called as anarchists. But Hobbes said, if there will be no state, it will be difficult to live. But they are saying, no, man is social by nature and man itself can live in peace with each other. Okay? Likho. What Marx believes in, violent overthrow of capitalism, full stop. In conclusion, Gandhi's socialism is based on the concept of trusteeship. In detail, we'll discuss this later. Is based on the concept of trusteeship, that is, appeal to the conscience of capitalist. Appeal to the conscience of capitalist. Conscience कहाँ होती है? हाँ, कहाँ होती है conscience? Brain में होती है, soul में होती है. क्या हम देख सकते हैं soul? Can we see soul? Can we see conscience? When we say prick your conscience, how to do that? And pricking the conscience can be too subjective or not. Someone conscience can permit violence. Someone conscience will say this is wrong, but someone conscience can justify that act of violence also or not. So conscience is subjective. Conscience is an idea or not. And according to Marx, all ideas are false. Conscience कुछ नहीं होती, ठीक है ना? जितनी मर्जी prick करते रहो, right? So that is appeal to the conscience of capitalist class. While Marx do not believe in the concept of conscience. While Marx do not believe in the concept of conscience. As according to Marx, religion is the opium of masses. Religion एक अफीम है. Okay, religion is the opium of masses. किसने बनाई है? Capitalist ने. चरस है. Opium of masses. It's just a placebo being created by the capitalist and the rich, for whom the masses, to keep their power intact, right, is the opium of masses. Full stop. Hence, according to Marx, there is no point to appeal. Religion is the opium of masses. Full stop. Hence, according to Marx, there is no point to appeal to the conscience of capitalist. होता ही नहीं है ऐसा कुछ. No point to appeal to the conscience of capitalist. And Marx has suggested that the workers of the world should unite as they have nothing to lose except their chains. Nothing to lose except their chains. In bracket, chain denotes religion, comma, nation. Religion, comma, nation. Nation or state, one and the same thing. Okay. So for Marxists, both religion and state are created by whom? Capitalist class, for their interest. as according to Marx, chain denotes religion, comma, state, as in terms of Marx. As in terms of Marx, they are false consciousness. They are false consciousness. समझाई बात? So Marx is saying what they are? False consciousness, both religion and nation. Those who have attended the lectures of GS, I hope you remember the dynamics of Cold War politics. याद है? And those who have not and are done with world history, पढ़ लिया world history, and done with modern history. Modern history पढ़ ली? And you know the reason for the creation of Pakistan. Freedom struggle पढ़ा है. So what is the reason for the creation of the state of Pakistan? क्या पढ़ा है historians ने आपको? Reason for the creation of the state of Pakistan. Muslim League is responsible that Jinnah was admin for the state of Pakistan. GS students को याद है या नहीं? हाँ? हाँ, ये तो आपने तो भी पढ़ा है ना. So those who have not attended GS, what you are aware of that, what led to the creation of Pakistan? The British policy of divide and rule. Failure of Indian National Congress to give this confidence to the Muslims that their interest will be well protected. Political aspirations of Jinnah, the activities of Hindu Mahasabha, the socio-religious reform movement. Okay, all these are the factors which finally culminated, and this led to the partition of the country. Ye angle, this is how historians has analyzed the partition of India. Now there is a geopolitical angle towards the partition of India, that British never wanted to leave, keeping united India in the hands of Congress. US, UK, France, they were the parliamentary democracies and capitalist economies. And the communist wave which emerged even in the Western countries, it was a threat for the capitalists of these countries. In fact, there was an appeasement for fascists, because fascists were anti-communist. Hitler, Mussolini, they arrested many communist leaders. This was the reason for the appeasement of fascists, to keep communism in check. But later, fascists, they becomes overambitious, and fascists started threatening the interest of these countries itself. This was the time they agreed to have an alliance with communism to counter fascism. But it was just an alliance of convenience, right? They were well aware of this aspect, that once the Second World War will be over, we have to counter and deal with whom? Communism. Because of two different ideologies, which are not compatible with each other. So it was not like this that tensions suddenly evolved after the end of Second World War. Tensions were there during the war itself, but fascism was posing the bigger threat. Okay. Now, Soviet was here, and we were on the periphery of the Soviet. US, after the end of Second World War, decided to pursue a policy of containment of communism, that we need to contain communism. And a united India in the hands of the Congress, where the inclination of the leaders was towards socialism, could have increased the influence of communist in the world. And that's why this is the angle being explored by the political scholars, that British was never interested to leave India, giving united India in the hands of Congress. All the missions which they sent to India, cabinet, Krebs, Wavell plan, they all were what? Just to manipulate, because they were never interested to leave without partitioning. Okay. Because if they would have left with Congress in power in India, probably this would have increased the influence of Soviet. So they wanted to make sure that before they will leave from here, they want to have their military base intact to keep the growing influence of Soviet in the region. You can clearly see just after the creation of Pakistan, Pakistan decided to join CENTO. The moment Pakistan joined CENTO, Cold War reached to our shores. Our aspiration was to keep Cold War tensions away and focus on our growth and development. We wanted to be genuinely non-aligned. But if we fail to remain non-aligned, why? Because Pakistan decided to be a party to US-led military alliance, which brought the Cold War to our shores. Also, the rich Muslim feudal lords, they were also under the fear of socialist wave. And these rich Muslim feudal lords wanted to protect their interest. And that's why Pakistan is the aspiration of whom? Rich Muslim feudal lords of the region and the capitalist of the West. So a state has been created to serve the interest of whom? Capitalist. And the conditions of the poor has never been changed and has not been changed. So religion is just what? Opium given to whom? Masses. And who served their interest? Capitalist. Indo-Pak war has served the interest of whom? The Western capitalist. When 1979, Soviet tried to increase its influence in Afghanistan, West used whom? Islamic fundamentalists, and they trained them with the help of whom? Army of Pakistan. So Pakistan as a state is just a proxy created by the Western capitalists to serve their interest or not? Yes. So that's what Marx was saying. A poor Muslim of Pakistan has more similar interest with a poor Hindu of India. So interest is of class. All those who are in the same class, they have the same interest. Because nation or state is a placebo created by whom? Capitalists to serve their interest. State is an instrument of whom? Bourgeois capitalist class. So it is never about national interest. It is always about class interest, and workers of the world needs to unite because all of you have same interest, and world over the capitalists have same interest. And war between the states is a war between capitalists. And that's what Gandhi said. All problems in the world are created by whom? Capitalists, because capitalism is based on greed, not on need. नई बात. So जो wars होती हैं दुनिया में, ये wars किसके interest में है? Capitalist. Army join कौन करता है? Peasant, poor, farmer, worker. So मर कौन रहा है देश के नाम पे? Poor. किसके इंटरेस्ट सर्व करते हुए? So what are national interest? False consciousness. And it has been expected from you to give your life on the name of nation, serving the interest of Ambani. यही तो है national interest. When I said this is what Marx was saying. I'm just telling you. Now it is up to you. You want to believe, you want to do this or not, because state and nation serves the interest of, because according to Marx, it is about capitalism. Capitalists, you will never see kids of the capitalists joining Indian Army. Bureaucracy is general, prepared by whom? The middle class, not the ultra rich class. उनके बच्चे सीधा BCCI ज्वाइन करते हैं. आर्मी थोड़ा जा रहे हैं वो. भेजो उन्हें आर्मी में. That's why compulsory army service, the demand. ठीक है ना? Compulsory army, every fit person needs to serve at least those who wants to become a politician, want to contest the election of MP MLA in future, first 5 years you should serve in army. Short way to tackle nepotism and corruption. इसलिए तो आने नहीं देते ये रूल. मत रहो प्राइवेट सिटीजन बन के रहो. There is no need to aspire to join politics. But if you want to aspire to join politics, at least serve first few years of your life in army. ठीक है ना? डिसिप्लिन, नेशनलिज्म, 2-4 को गोली भी तो लगे. डिसिप्लिन, नेशनलिज्म एंड वे टू डील विद करप्शन एंड नेपोटिज्म. समझ में आई बात? सो इवन पाकिस्तान एज अ स्टेट बीन क्रिएटेड बाय whom? The capitalists. So states are the instrument of capitalist class or not? Yes, and that's what Marx said. We have similar, not national interest, we have similar class interest. A poor in Europe and a poor in India have similar interest, and a capitalist in US, Europe and in India have similar interest. Okay, interest aligned. So religion और state के चक्कर में मत पड़ो. ये just क्या है? False consciousness है. And किसने spread किया? Idealist ने. State is a march of God. State भगवान है. State के against सोचो मत. Who said this? Hegel, idealist. ठीक, लिखो. So chain denotes religion or nation. As in terms of Marx, they are false conscience. एक बार पढ़ लो जो अब तक लिखा है. A quick read. पढ़ने को कहा है, ब्रेक के लिए नहीं कहा था. हाँ जी. Lenin did what? We'll discuss that. Lenin is the reason why Marx is known as the enemy of open society. He manipulated the idea of Marx. He's just manipulated the idea of Marx. Gandhi clearly stated that now we have attained freedom, we should dissolve Indian National Congress. Sun lo. Gandhi was very clear, we need to dissolve Indian National Congress. And we need to, all those who aspire for politics, make a new party and seek mandate. But there were leaders who wanted to take the advantage of the legacy of National Congress, and they never wanted to dilute that. When they started using Gandhi to fetch vote, it turns to Gandhism. So who has maligned the image of Gandhi? His followers, Congress leaders. Yeah. And when you are using the ideas to attain the objective, it becomes ideology. So Gandhism, Marxism, ideology kab ban gayi? When their ideas been manipulated to acquire power. Then it turned into ideology.
Sir,
Anji.
so that means that Marxist socialism is different from Marxism.
नहीं, एक ही बात है. Right. Marx theory of praxis. Marx theory of praxis. Right. Marx called his ideas as scientific. Which thing we associate with science? No, science him kya associate karo? Why he was saying his ideas are science? That will came true. That my ideas for sure will came true. Means he was saying that the destruction of capitalism is inevitable. Why he was saying my ideas are scientific? Because they are bound to come true. Because destruction of capitalism is inevitable. Why he was so sure that destruction of capitalism is inevitable? That I'll tell you later. He was very sure that no one can prevent the destruction of capitalism, and socialism is bound to emerge. Okay, na? That's why he was saying my ideas are scientific. There is no need to write this, but if you still want to, you can write in bracket. Why he was sure that his ideas are scientific? Because he believed that destruction of capitalism is inevitable. Destruction of capitalism is inevitable. That's why he said my ideas are scientific. His ideas are scientific, and called his theory as scientific socialism. Called his theory as scientific socialism. Or the theory of praxis. Or the theory of praxis. Full stop. Next bullet point. The objective of Marx was to end the exploitation of working class. And the exploitation of working class. Full stop. Marx was not the first person to give socialist ideas. First person to give socialist ideas. And socialist ideas emerged during French Revolution. Emerged during French Revolution. Full stop. Next bullet point. During French Revolution, there were left revolutionaries. They were left revolutionaries. And they were ready for action. Means to overthrow capitalism. They were ready for action. But they didn't have the clear understanding. They didn't have the clear understanding of capitalism. उनको understanding ही नहीं थी. Understanding of capitalism. Full stop. Next bullet point. British socialist. British socialist. Like Robert. British socialist like Robert Owen. Known as father of cooperative movements in Britain. Father of cooperative movements in Britain. Proposed peaceful method. Proposed peaceful method and appeal to the conscience of the capitalist. To the conscience of the capitalist. Conscience of the capitalist. Full stop. Marx called both as utopians. Marx called both as utopian, that is British and the French leftist. दोनों ही utopian बातें कर रहे हैं. One is ready for action, but they do not understand. They do not have the right understanding of capitalism. Owen, British leftist, have an understanding of capitalism because he's talking about cooperative movement, but they are appealing to what? Conscience. And conscience is false consciousness. So according to Marx, both are utopian, as according to Marx, those who are ready for action. Ready for action. They lacked understanding. They lacked understanding. And those who are trying for peaceful means are not ready for action. And thus Marx called both as utopian. Both as utopian. And called his theory Marx called his theory as scientific revolution. His theory as scientific revolution. That is the theory of praxis. This my theory as praxis, that is scientific revolution. That is the theory of praxis, which means a theory which will lead to revolution. Theory which will lead to revolution. Action. So any theory which will not lead to any outcome, any action is futile. This was the belief of Marx. Theory needs to what? Action. Theory should lead to revolution. That's why I was saying my theory is scientific theory, theory of praxis, because this theory will going to bring what? Revolution. Okay, revolution आया तो, but वैसा नहीं आया जैसा Marx expect कर रहा था. So Marx's ideas also remained what? Utopian. ठीक है ना, अपने आप को साइंटिस्ट बता था, but his ideas remained utopian. Full stop. Next bullet point. According to Marx, no theory is useful. बेकार है सारी थ्योरियां. No theory is useful if it will not lead to action. And no action can be successful if it will lack proper understanding. So your hard work in UPSC requires first the proper understanding of UPSC exam. चाह क्या रहे हैं? ठीक है ना, पढ़ते तो आप रहो, जितना मर्जी पढ़ लो हिस्ट्री. यूपीएससी आपसे चाह रही है आप हिस्ट्री के मास्टर हो जाओ हिस्ट्री में? नहीं चाह रही ना. ये आपको एनवायरमेंट में, एनवायरमेंटल साइंसेज में आपके पास पीएचडी हो. इज यूपीएससी इज लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड फॉर दिस? नो. सो कैन यू क्वालिफाई विदाउट प्रॉपर अंडरस्टैंडिंग द डिमांड ऑफ द एग्जाम? नो. ठीक है ना, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम action without having proper understanding. Any other example which you can give where at least in India where there was a lot of action, but action was not being backed by the proper understanding which led to its failure? Very good. Revolt of 1857. Action तो बहुत था, but not proper understanding of imperialism था कि ये imperial powers आई हुई हैं यहाँ पे. ठीक है ना? So everyone was fighting for their own narrow interest. Lot of action without having proper understanding, and that's what the statement came from the British official. Had one leader of caliber would have risen from the revolutionaries, we would have to leave from India. तभी आजादी आ गई होती. But किसी को भी समझ ही नहीं आया था कि हम कर क्या रहे हैं. Okay, right. No action can be successful if it will lack proper understanding. Full stop. Thus, according to Marx, philosophers have just interpreted the world. Just interpreted the world. While the need is to change the world. तो मेरे आइडिया साइंटिफिक हैं जिससे दुनिया बदल जाएगी. Need is to change the world. So do you think Marx used to consider himself as philosopher or scientist? Social scientist, not a philosopher. But we are seeing Marx as philosopher. ठीक है ना? His followers used to see him as God. वो खुद को scientist देख रहा है, उसके philosopher उसे, followers उसे God देख रहे हैं, और हम उसे क्या देख रहे हैं? Philosopher. और capitalist उसे देख रहे हैं enemy. Okay? Right. Sources of influence on Karl Marx. So एक individual के, there are many aspects in a single personality, and same individual can be seen differently by so many different people. So there are many aspects of personality, not a single aspect. We cannot summarize we cannot see the personality of Gandhi in one particular aspect, as Gandhi has been seen differently by different people. Okay, from politician to saint, from philosopher to psychologist. Okay. Right, sources of influence on Karl Marx. First, French revolutionaries. Abhi aapne likha. Because the idea of socialism emerged during French Revolution. French revolutionaries. ठीक है ना? The saying goes that there were many socialists before Marx, but there was no liberal before Mill. ठीक है ना? Mill से पहले कोई liberal था ही नहीं जिसने freedom of speech and expression की बात की हो. But there are many socialists who were there before Marx. French Revolutionary. Second, British socialist. And third, German School of Philosophy. German School of Philosophy. यहाँ से Marx बर्बाद हुआ. ठीक है? When he joined this particular school, German School of Philosophy. Right. Karl Marx joined the group of scholars. Karl Marx joined the group of scholars known as young Hegelians. Hegelians. ये सब हेगेलियन के फॉलोअर थे. A group of scholars known as young Hegelians. Full stop. Marx was influenced by Hegel and his law of dialectics. And law of dialectics. Full stop. However, later Marx became the critic of Hegel. Aristotle was the follower of, and later he became the critic. Okay. Mill was the follower of Bentham, and later he became the critic. Marx was the follower of Hegel, and later he became the critic. So who is the biggest critic of the teacher? The follower. ठीक है ना? सबसे बड़ा क्रिटिक टीचर का फॉलोवर ही होता है. ठीक, इसमें कोई बुरी बात नहीं है. ठीक है ना? मेरा बेस्ट क्रिटिसिज्म आप ही कर सकते हो, और फिर आप नई थ्योरी के साथ आओगे मार्केट में. ठीक है, लिखो. And he became the critic of Hegel. Full stop. While Hegel was idealist, Hegel idealist था. Marx was materialist. I hope अब ये बात सबको क्लियर होगी the difference between idealist and materialist without any confusion in the mind. ठीक है. So while Hegel was idealist, Marx was materialist. Full stop. Hegel was in the favor of state. Hegel was in the favor of state. While Marx was anti-state. Was anti-state. So he was influenced by Hegel's law of dialectics. Who was the first one to give the method of dialectic? Socrates. Okay, so first one to give the method of dialectic was Socrates. ठीक है ना? Right. About Hegel. Hegel पर भी क्वेश्चन आ जाता है. Right. He was the official philosopher of Prussia. That is the state of Germany at that time. So official philosopher किसका है? State का. तो state की तो बात करेगा. Because he was employed by the state. He was getting the money from whom? The monarchy. So he was the official philosopher of state. So in his writings, you can clearly see the praise for whom? The state. He was the official philosopher of Prussia. And Hegel praised the state. Hegel praised the state, comma, inverted comma, as the march of God on earth. अगर आपको भगवान देखना है तो स्टेट को देख लो, आपको भगवान के दर्शन हो जाएंगे. ठीक है. March of God on earth. So that's why who will going to manipulate the thoughts of Hegel later? Fascist. Okay. So liberalism as a ideology, liberalism as a philosophy overshadowed by utilitarianism. But Mill brought what in liberalism to reform liberalism, which paved the way for welfare liberalism? Idealism. तो आइडियलिज्म ने दो चीजों को इन्फ्लुएंस किया. अभी मैं बाद में फिर कनेक्ट करके बताऊंगा आपको. Idealism influenced two ideologies. One, liberalism. It paved the way for classical liberalism to welfare liberalism, because classical liberalism overshadowed by utilitarianism, and liberalism paved the way for fascism. Sorry, idealism paved the way for fascism. So एक idealism की ब्रांच चली जाती है कहां पर? Liberalism में. Kant is also idealist, and his concept of human dignity, and his concept of human dignity is paving the way for welfare liberalism. And other Hegel idealist, and his idealism is paving the way for fascist. कितनों को बात नहीं समझ आई? You can raise your hand. कोई जरूरी नहीं है मैं जो बोलूं आपको सब समझ ही आ जाए, क्योंकि आपका बैकग्राउंड नहीं है. नहीं आई ना बात समझ में? कोई बात नहीं. ये तो सुनने में पता चला कि अच्छा कुछ ऐसा है कि लिबरलिज्म में आइडियलिज्म आने से एक तरफ वेलफेयर गया और एक तरफ फासिज्म आया. ये सुना तो बस समझ आगे आ जाएगा. ठीक है ना? याद रख लो आज इस बात को. With time you will start making the connections and the dots. ठीक? So idealist has influenced to whom? Liberals and fascist. ठीक? Right. Hegel is known as Hegel said state is a march of God on earth. Full stop. In continuation, since Marx had to inspire the working class. Since Marx had to inspire the working class, for revolution against the state, it was necessary for Marx to challenge the theory of Hegel. For Marx to challenge the theory of Hegel. Full stop. According to Marx, next bullet point na likh lo. According to Marx, Hegel is standing on his head. अगर आप अपने हेड पे खड़े हो जाओगे तो आपको दुनिया उल्टी दिखेगी ना. If you will stand on your head, you will see the world in a totally different way or not. So according to Marx, he is standing on his head, not on his feet. सर के बल खड़ा है अगला, ठीक है ना, योगा कर रहा है, इसलिए उसे स्टेट कैसी दिख रही है, भगवान जैसी दिख रही है। एक बार उल्टा होके देखे स्टेट सही दिखेगी, क्या है स्टेट, एक्सप्लॉयटेटिव है, ठीक है। ड्यूरिंग कोविड स्टेट प्रोटेक्टेड द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द पीपल, एंड स्टेट प्रोटेक्टेड द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ विच पीपल, propertied class. Because when ensured lockdown, what happened to the migrants? And state was told, for the time being, state ignored the interest of whom? The poor working class. So for capitalist, that for working class, for Marxist, state is only the instrument of whom? Propertied bourgeois class, nothing more than that. Hegel is standing on his head and he has to stand on his feet. उल्टा करो इसको, and he has to stand on his feet. Right, for Hegel, अलग थर्ड पॉइंट बना के, for Hegel, ऐसे 3 डैश बनाओ, then for Marx 3 डैश बनाएंगे. Right, for Hegel, idea is ultimate reality. For Hegel, idea is ultimate reality. We cannot see God. God is an idea. Ultimate reality is God. So same Plato, reality is the shadow of idea, which you can't see is reality. Idea is ultimate reality. Second, God is absolute idea. God is absolute idea. And third, state is reflection of God on earth. क्योंकि भगवान हर जगह नहीं जा सकते तो उन्होंने स्टेट बना दी. State is reflection of God on earth. While for Marx, idea is not real. Idea is not real. Matter is real. Second, God has not made man. Man has made God. भगवान हमने बनाया है दिमाग में अपने. God has not made man. Man has not made God. तो गलत सही कुछ भी नहीं रहा, ठीक है ना. Man has made God. God has not made man. Man has made God. Third, idea is false consciousness. So whosoever is giving the idea of God and wants us to believe, spreading what? False consciousness. Abhi hum consciousness ka, we will discuss the concept of consciousness. Then he will say, come out of false consciousness. Out of false consciousness, and you need to come out of false and realize what true consciousness is. How you can realize your true consciousness? Seeing your materialistic conditions. Okay, that's why he is materialist. Right, dialectic method. Right, Socrates was the inventor of dialectic method. Socrates was the inventor of dialectic method. Bracket में लिख लो. What we mean by the word dialectic. Was the inventor of dialectic method, right? It's a method of investigation of truth. जब आप सच जानने की कोशिश कर रहे होते हैं, it's a method of investigation of truth. Through the art of disputation. Through the art of disputation. That is the process of argument and counter argument. Is it possible to find truth in authoritarian, totalitarian regimes where arguments are not allowed. Okay. So that's why in our school system, in our education system, is it possible to have scientific inventions? Because for that we need what? Critical debates, argument, counter argument. And our educational system designed by whom? British. Because British never wanted what? Challenge to authority. Till date, questioning teacher is seen as what? Challenging authority. In our school system, one-way transfer of data, we are not trying to work on the creative aspect of the students, which is only possible if they will be allowed to argument, to question. So it's a method of investigation of truth through the art of disputation. That is process of argument and counter argument. Can't find truth without argument and counter argument. Full stop. It means a rational dialogue or debate. A rational dialogue or debate. So what dialectic method is? Method to investigate truth, right? So many times when we say, I am ready to listen the truth, many do claim, okay, they do claim on a holding this particular ground, I am ready to listen the truth. You are free to tell me the truth. You as a police officer in future asking someone to tell the truth, holding gun in your hand, are you ready to listen to the truth? Nahin. So you are not ready to listen to the truth if the other person is under the fear and threat. Person will only speak truth without any fear. So there's a big question mark. Person will speak truth under fear or person will speak truth without having any fear. Kab aayega truth baar? Dar ke? Okay, that's why this is another matter of debate and discussion, that how we can investigate truth. Only way to investigate truth is through process of argument and counter argument. ठीक है ना? So हम बहुत बार सच सुनना चाह नहीं रहे होते, हम बस pretend कर रहे होते हैं that we are interested in truth. ठीक है ना? हम सुनना चाहते भी नहीं है truth. लिखो next bullet point. It can be represented through an equation. The method of dialectic can be represented through an equation. That is thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Argument is thesis. Counter argument is antithesis. Conclusion is synthesis. Do you think synthesis will going to be the final truth? Or synthesis can be a new thesis? Yes. So synthesis can be a new thesis which can have its antithesis and this can have its synthesis. Tick. Next bullet point. Thesis will give rise to. Thesis will give rise to antithesis. And synthesis will have the good features of both. Will have the good features of both. And it will eliminate the negative features of both. Will eliminate the negative features of both. Full stop. So long there will be contradictions. so long there will be contradiction. Comma, it will continue. It will continue. And the debate will end. Once the contradiction will end. Debate will end once the contradiction will end. Okay, so till the time there will be contradiction between thesis, antithesis, this debate will continue. It will only be over once the contradictions will end. Okay. Next bullet point. Hegel has utilized the concept of dialectics. Hegel has utilized the concept of dialectics to explain the movement of history. ये थोड़ा सा confusion रहता है students को यहाँ पे. आपको I'll try that easily you will able to understand this aspect. Hegel has influenced the concept of dialectics to explain the movement of history, that how history has moved. Okay. And according to him, movement of history is the result of dialectics of ideas. Result of dialectic of ideas. Underline kar lena. Means history has moved because of the conflicts in ideas. There was one idea, another contradictory idea came. This led to the emergence of another idea. So history has moved because of the conflict in ideas. According to Marx, no, it was not the conflict in ideas. Conflict was prevailing in the mode of production. There was conflict in the slave society. There was conflict in feudalism. There was conflict. There is a conflict in capitalism, and this conflict will end where? In socialism. Okay, because socialism will be classless, stateless society. For Marx, till the time there will be classes, and classes are based on what? Materialism. So till the time there are classes, conflict will prevail. Conflict will only end when there will be a classless society, and state is being created to protect the interest of one class. When there will be no class, there is no need for state. State will wither away. बात समझ में आई? So for Hegel क्या कह रहा है? Conflict किस में है? Idea में. Marx क्या कह रहा है? Conflict is not in ideas. Conflict was prevailing in matter, mode of production. ठीक है? लिखो. And movement of history is the result of dialectics of ideas. Full stop. It means history has been shaped by ideas. History has been shaped by ideas. Full stop. Next bullet point. According to Hegel, all socio-political institutions like one of the socio-political institution like family, okay, society, state, civil society, family, state, these are socio-political institutions. All socio-political institutions are the reflection of ideas. All socio-political institutions are the reflection of ideas. Okay. Full stop. While Hegel has emphasized on mental revolution. Marx has emphasized on physical revolution. Marx has emphasized on physical revolution. Next bullet point. According to Hegel, ideas have moved in a dialectical manner. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Ideas have moved in a dialectical manner means there was one idea, there came a counter idea, then came a new idea. Okay, so ideas has moved in a dialectical manner, and history is what? The movement of ideas. ये Hegel का belief है. Who will going to contradict this? Marx. Ideas have moved in a dialectical manner. Underline कर लो. And according to him, there are 3 laws of dialectics. According to him, there are 3 laws of dialectics. First, unity of opposites. Unity of opposites. Second, negation of negation. Negation of negation. And third, quantity changes to quality. These are 3 laws of dialectic. Now, all 3 laws will be used by Marx. Only difference is Marx is saying conflict was in the matter, mode of production, not in ideas. Ideas to false consciousness. Okay, but all 3 laws are used by Marx also. So where Marx is having the influence of Hegel, that Marx used the law of dialectics given by Hegel. Socrates has only has given the method of dialectic, but who has created these laws of dialectics? Hegel. Right. First, unity of opposites. Unity of opposite. First law. Right. It means for every idea, there exists the opposite idea. हर idea का एक opposite idea होता है. And there is a contradiction between the two. And there is contradiction between the two. Full stop. Contradiction is the reason for the movement. Contradiction ना हो तो क्या हो? History end हो जाए. Contradiction is the reason for movement. And once the contradiction will end, contradiction खत्म हो जाए, the movement will end and history will end. खत्म. History will end. So Marx का belief क्या था? There is contradiction in capitalism. Intermediary stage will come, that is socialism. So ये Marx की एक stage थी socialism, बाद में बताऊंगा. So Marx belief was intermediary stage will come what? Socialism. Here it will be dictatorship of capitalist. Here dictatorship of working proletariat. But still there will be dictatorship. A perfect society will come under communism. Classless, stateless. History over. ठीक है? But ऐसा हुआ ही नहीं कभी. ठीक. Movement will end. क्या लिखा? And it will end the history. ठीक है? And end of movement means the end of history. यहाँ पर एक नोट बना के लिख लो. Conflict or contradictions played a crucial role. Conflict or contradictions played a crucial role in both Hegelian and Marxist theory. Conflict and contradiction played a crucial role in both Hegelian and Marxist theory. So Hegel के according भी history is moving because of conflict. Marx के according भी history is moving because of conflict. Difference is where? Conflict of ideas and conflict of matter. I hope all of you are getting the things. सबको समझ आ रही हैं बातें? Getting or not? अरे yes no तो बोलो. लग नहीं रहा. कम आ रही है? हाँ? क्या थोड़ा कम आ रहा है? हाँ?
नो सर,
आइडिया थोड़ा कम जा रहा है? हाँ? ठीक है. ये फीलिंग आया कि जिस दिन फिलोसफर स्टार्ट होता है उस दिन थोड़ा कम आता है, उससे अगले दिन वो फिलोसफर बेटर समझ आता है, और जब तक हम वो फिलोसफर खत्म करते हैं वो पूरा समझ आ जाता है. तो इस विश्वास से सुनते रहो. हाँ, प्लेटो कब ज्यादा समझ आया था? एंड में. ठीक है ना. मिल्क कब जब समझ आया? जब मिल्क खत्म होने वाला था. ये रूल है. ठीक है ना. मार्क्स खत्म होने के बाद आपको प्लेटो भी ज्यादा बेटर समझ आने वाला है. So if you'll read Plato again after studying Marx, you will understand. अरे प्लेटो कितना झूठ बोल रहा था. हाँ, सब झूठ बोल रहा है प्लेटो. ठीक है ना. तो थोड़ा सा सब्जेक्ट का नेचर ऐसा है कि यू हैव टू मेंटेन द पेशेंस. इफ यू आर नॉट फ्रॉम PSIR बैकग्राउंड, इट विल टेक अ बिट ऑफ टाइम टू एसिमुलेट दीज कॉन्सेप्ट्स. ठीक है. राइट. निगेशन ऑफ निगेशन. सेकेंड, निगेशन ऑफ निगेशन. बस मेन से पहले सब समझ आ जाए इतना बहुत है. हाँ, अभी कंफ्यूजन्स ठीक है. मेंस तक सब समझ आ जाए, हम आंसर राइटिंग अच्छे से करने लग जाएं, ये टारगेट है हमारा. है ना. तो कोई बात नहीं, कुछ डाउट्स आ रहे हैं, जी लो कुछ दिन इन डाउट्स के साथ. यू कैन लिव विद दीज डाउट्स फॉर फ्यू डेज. ठीक है ना. निगेशन ऑफ निगेशन. इट मीन्स बिटवीन लेसर एंड हायर ट्रुथ. Between lesser and higher truth will move ahead. नेगेटिविटी कटती चली जाती है. निगेशन ऑफ निगेशन. बिटवीन लेसर एंड हायर ट्रुथ विल मूव अहेड, एंड लेसर ट्रुथ विल गेट निगेटेड. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, बिटवीन लाइफ एंड डेथ, विच इज अ हायर ट्रुथ? जो होगा ही होगा. डेथ हायर ट्रुथ है. ठीक है ना. डेथ इज अ हायर ट्रुथ. सबको पता है बात, फिर भी इतनी मैनिपुलेशंस हैं. ठीक है. डेथ इज द हायर ट्रुथ. नो वन कैन स्टॉप दैट. सो लाइफ कीप्स ऑन गेटिंग निगेटेड. So life keeps on getting negated. Negated. Full stop. According to Hegel, whatever remains in the last is a bigger truth. Whatever remains in the last is a bigger truth. It is law of nature. इसलिए बा बन जाते हैं. It is law of nature. The last is a bigger truth. It is law of nature. ठीक है ना. गांधी का भी बिलीव था. Negation of negation, that out of imperialism and Indian freedom movement, who is on the right side? We. So Indians are bound to attain freedom. Negation of negation. Okay. We are bound to attain freedom as we on the right side of the history. Third, quantity changes into quality. ये 3 लॉ हैं डायलैक्टिक्स के. यूनिटी ऑफ अपोजिट. एवरी आइडिया इज अ opposite idea. Higher idea will move forward, and quantity changes into quality. How Marx will use these laws, I'll tell you. Don't worry. ठीक है ना. Laws same है. The difference is Hegel is talking about idea, and Marx will talk about matter. Quantity changes into quality, right? According to Hegel, change will not happen overnight. Change will not happen overnight. रातों रात नहीं होगा. Full stop. A turning point will come. A turning point will come when the absolute idea will emerge. इसके बाद और कुछ नहीं. When the absolute idea will emerge. That is when quantity will change into quality. Will change into quality. Right after these laws, next paragraph. Marx has incorporated. So Marx is having the influence of French leftist, British leftist, and German school of thought, German philosophy, that is Hegel. From here, he has taken 3 laws of dialectics, but he has criticized Hegel, saying that he is spreading false consciousness. Laws to liye, but he has refused to accept that movement of history is because of the conflict in ideas. Conflict was in the mode of production. And till the time there will be a conflict in the mode of production where few are haves and few are have-nots, history will keep moving. And history will end when this conflict will over. And this conflict is getting over where? Under communism, class-less society. ठीक है ना? बात समझ में आई जो मैंने बोला अभी? लिखो. Karl Marx has incorporated these 3 laws of dialectics in his theory of history. ये डिटेल में करेंगे, एग्जैक्ट क्वेश्चन आता है. Theory of history of Marx. Marx has incorporated these 3 laws of dialectics in his theory of history. Full stop. The only difference between Hegel and Marx is that Hegel suggests that history moved because of the dialectics of idea. Dialectics of idea. While Marx suggests that change happened because of dialectics of matter. Full stop. For Hegel, it was because of ideological conflict. It was because of ideological conflict. Ideological conflict चल रहा था. Ideological conflict. But for Marx, change happened because of conflict in mode of production. Conflict इसलिए था कि conflict था mode of production में. Okay. ठीक. Mode of production like ancient time, what kind of mode of production was there? Masters and slaves. It changed into which mode of production? Feudalism. It changed into which production? Capitalism. It will change into which production? Socialism, where whose dictatorship will come? Proletariat. And finally it will change into communism. वहां पर सारा contradiction खत्म हो जाएगा and classless, stateless society आ जाएगी and वहां पर सब लोग खुश रहेंगे. ठीक है ना? राम राज्य of Gandhi and communism of Marx, right? Perfect happiness आ जाएगी वहां पर. So, and perfect freedom आ जाएगी. So Marxist scholars has interpreted liberty and freedom in a different way. For liberal scholars, liberty and freedom, one and the same thing. ठीक? कुछ समझ आया? थोड़ी बहुत बातें. Those who already have read about these things, I hope they are better able to understand, and those who have not, they might be able to listen few new things. ओहो, ऐसा भी कुछ पढ़ना है. ठीक है. Write a quote. State is a march of God on earth. Hegel. ये quote एग्जाम में आ सकता है. State is a march of God on earth. अगर धरती पर भगवान को देखना है तो कहाँ देखो? स्टेट में. स्टेट इज अ मार्च ऑफ गॉड ऑन अर्थ. तो अगर स्टेट जान भी मांग रही है तो दे दो. स्टेट इज अ मार्च ऑफ गॉड ऑन अर्थ. दिस इज द कोट ऑफ हीगल. विल कंटिन्यू फ्रॉम हियर टुमारो. ठीक है, कल करेंगे. Try not to read Marx for the time being from any particular book. You want to read Gaba, read your previous chapters, but not Marx. Marx you read after the completion of Marx. Okay? And you can see the questions on Marx after the completion of Marx. क्या होता है? ये किसने कहा? अभी हमने किया ही कहा. डायलेक्टिक है क्या? हमने तो ये जाना है ना. डायलेक्टिक क्या है? क्या लिखा आपने? डायलेक्टिक इज अ मेथड. So you can do it with your soul. It you can do. We too can also do dialectics. ये किसने कहा कि सोल से ही होती है? हाँ, ये थोड़ा होता है कि डायलेक्टिक नहीं. सोक्रेटिस ने एक मेथड रिकमेंड किया था और उसने कहा था ट्रुथ जानने के लिए अपनी सोल से बात करो. मार्क्स तो सोल पे बिलीव ही नहीं कर रहा. हाँ, तो फिर तो डायलेक्टिक ऑफ मैटर है. कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन किनके बीच में थी? मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन के बीच में थी.
कोई भी कर सकता है डायलेक्टिक.
बिल्कुल जरूरी थोड़ी ना है सोल से. आइडियलिस्ट कहेंगे सोल से करो. बस जो सोल पे बिलीव ही नहीं कर रहा, काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट हम भी तो कर सकते हैं कि नहीं 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 ये एक्सप्लॉयटेटिव है, इसे चेंज करो. हाँ, अभी जरूरत नहीं है, कोई जरूरत नहीं है. देयर इज नो नीड. यू विल वेस्ट योर टाइम एंड माय टाइम राइटिंग आंसर्स. हाँ जी. हाँ हाँ, 5:15 चली जा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. मैं कोशिश करूंगा 5:15 5:20 तक वैसे ही कंपाइल कर दूं, क्योंकि बाद में 5-10 मिनट सबके डाउट्स रहते हैं. ठीक है ना. हाँ, यूटिलिटी शैडो कर गई थी ना. देखो मिल लॉक ने क्या कहा? लिबर्टी होनी चाहिए. फिर सबके पास लिबर्टी टू प्रॉपर्टी होनी चाहिए. तो फिर बेंथम ने क्या आ गया? यूटिलिटेरियनिज्म आ गया. उसने कहा कि गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज कैसी होनी चाहिए? which maximize profit, means everyone has unlimited liberty to acquire profit. This unlimited liberty to acquire profit will lead to the exploitation of many. So liberty overshadowed by what? Utility. And then came whom? Mill. वो लेके आया idealism, कांत को, dignity के concept को. That क्या बोल रहे हो? आपने क्वेश्चन क्या पूछा था? मैं आपको उसका आंसर दे रहा था. ठीक है ना. अब आप और कंफ्यूज कर गए. लिबर्टी की बात लॉक ने करी, फिर बेंथम आ गया, और मैंने भी आपको कहा कि भी आप रुक जाओ, थोड़ा सा आगे आएगा. बेंथम ने क्या कहा? यूटिलिटी. यूटिलिटी मतलब गवर्नमेंट की जो पॉलिसी है, इट शुड बी सच दैट गवर्नमेंट शुड अलाउ मैक्सिमाइजेशन ऑफ प्रॉफिट. सो अन अमाउंट ऑफ लिबर्टी लीड्स टू द एक्सप्लॉयटेशन ऑफ अदर्स. फिर मिल आ गया. सो मिल कॉन्सेप्ट डिग्निटी का ले आया कि पॉलिसी ऐसी नहीं होनी चाहिए कि जिससे लोग दूसरों की डिग्निटी अंडरमाइन हो रही है. दिस लेड टू द रिवाइवल ऑफ यूटिलिटेरियनिज्म एंड इट पेव्ड द वे फॉर वेलफेयर लिबरल्स. यहाँ पर TH ग्रीन आ जाएगा. कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ पॉजिटिव लिबर्टी आ जाएगी. अब ये पढ़नी है बातें, अभी हमने खत्म थोड़ी ना किया है. तो मिल हाइफन है बेंथम और ग्रीन के बीच में. और ये क्या रिकमेंड करेंगे? स्टेट नीड्स टू परफॉर्म वेरियस वेलफेयर फंक्शन. ठीक है ना. हर बात नहीं समझनी है, एग्जाम के ओरिएंटेड पढ़ना है, बट ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. ये फिर से आएगी बात, बट आई होप नाउ इट इज क्लियर. हाँ ठीक है. हाँ जी, छोड़ दे सर. हाँ बोल. अभी करेंगे, अभी तो कहा बताऊंगा दोबारा. अभी फासिज्म आने तो दे. आइडियोलॉजीज में एक ओवरव्यू दिया है, समझ आ गई बात? ठीक नहीं आई कोई बात नहीं. जब मैंने क्लास में कहा कि अभी नहीं समझ आई तो कोई बात नहीं. इसका क्या मतलब है? हाँ, मैं कहता हूँ ना ही आए समझ तो बेटर है. मैंने सिर्फ बोला है. आपको समझने के लिए थोड़ा ना मैंने कहा है। और अगर मैंने बोला है तो मुझे पता है ना नहीं आया होगा, मुझे समझाना है ये बात, तो क्यों घबरा रहे हो? नहीं मुझे समझाना वो, मैंने समझाना ही नहीं है अभी, बाद में बनवाऊंगा, रुक जाओ अभी। ठीक है, सिर्फ एक ओवरव्यू देता है कि हाँ ऐसा कुछ है कि फासिज्म एक आइडियलिज्म कहाँ चला जाता है, वेलफेयर लिबरलिज्म में। एक आइडियलिज्म कहाँ चला जाता है, हीगल वाला, फासिज्म में। कांत का आइडियलिज्म कहाँ चला जाता है, लिबरलिज्म में, डिग्निटी का कॉन्सेप्ट। और हीगल का आइडियलिज्म में कहाँ चला जाता है, फासिज्म में। यही बोला था। बस कर, नहीं बोला था, भूल जा, कंफ्यूज हो रही है, रुक जा। ठीक है, हाँ जी।
आपने सोशलिज्म सजेस्ट दैट मैन इज सोशल बाय नेचर।
हाँ जी,
बट मार्क्स का ये भी कहना था कि रेवोल्यूशन आएगा तो ब्लड से आएगा।
हाँ,
एक ब्लडेड रेवोल्यूशन के बाद सोशल तरीके से मैन
हम किसके अगेंस्ट रेवोल्यूशन कर रहे हैं, सिर्फ कैपिटलिस्ट के, बस कैपिटलिस्ट के। हाँ, तभी हम कहते हैं ना मार्क्स ह्यूमनिस्ट है, हाँ है, बट इंडिविजुअलिस्ट नहीं है, सोशलिस्ट है। हाँ, ग्रेटर गुड की तरफ देख रहा है।
एब्स्ट्रैक्ट इंडिविजुअलिज्म क्या होता है?
भूल जा, ये बताया तो था एब्स्ट्रैक्ट इंडिविजुअलिज्म। लिबरल्स ह्यूमन नेचर कैसे देख रहे हैं, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट इंडिविजुअल की तरह देख रहे हैं, कि जैसे वो बिल्कुल आइसोलेटेड रह रहा है। तो अकॉर्डिंग टू वेलफेयर लिबरल, क्लासिकल लिबरल्स का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है इंडिविजुअल का, वो एब्स्ट्रैक्ट इंडिविजुअलिज्म है। ये वोकेबलरी यूज की है किसने, वेलफेयर लिबरल्स ने, कि जो क्लासिकल लिबरल्स देख रहे हैं ह्यूमन नेचर, वो एब्स्ट्रैक्ट है, ह्यूमन नेचर ऐसी नहीं होती, मैन इज सोशल है।
वेलफेयर
बोल रहे हैं ऐसे, अभी दोबारा आएंगी ये बातें।
ये वाला मतलब
हाँ,
ये नोट्स
तभी तो नोट, तो बहुत सारे नोट इसलिए लिखवा रहा हूँ, वो बाद में समझ आएंगे, कोई बात नहीं, थोड़े दिन जी लो कंफ्यूजन से। हाँ, निगेशन, हाँ, लेसर, हीगल सेड, अभी कल आएगा। पहले फर्स्ट फैमिली केम, देन केम सिविल सोसाइटी, एंड देन केम स्टेट। Lesser truth will be negated, higher truth will prevail. This is law. These are the three laws of dialectic given by Hegel. That if there are two ideas, which idea will move forward? Which is higher truth. Life and death, which is a higher idea? Death. Life will be negated. Negation of negation. Okay. State will emerge. This was the thought of Hegel. For Marx, between feudalism and capitalism, which is a better idea? For Marx कहेगा there was a conflict in feudalism which led to the rise of capitalism. Because there was a conflict in capitalism led to the rise of socialism. But this conflict for Marx is mode of production, material conflict is there. Okay. Machiavelli.
The greatest happiness of humanity. So ये आइडिया एक्चुअली कैपिटलिस्ट को प्रमोट करते हैं, सोशलिज्म,
कैपिटलिज्म को करता है ना, ग्रेटेस्ट हैप्पीनेस प्रॉफिट को प्रमोट कर रहा है।
सर आपने जो एग्जांपल $10 अगर देते हैं,
हाँ, अब वो उल्टा समझ, तुम उसे उल्टा समझ रहे हो। हमने क्या कहा कि अगर आप $100 10 कैपिटलिस्ट से ले लेते हो और $1 1000 वर्कर्स को दे देते हो, आप कहोगे ऐसा करना चाहिए। बेंथम कह रहा है नहीं करना चाहिए। क्यों? क्योंकि इनके लिए दुख कितने का है, $100 का। इनको $100 का दुख ज्यादा होगा, इनको $1 से खुशी कम मिल रही है। सो इनकी हैप्पीनेस ज्यादा कम हो रही है, इतनी हैप्पीनेस हम बढ़ा नहीं रहे हैं। तो हमने तभी कहा, सोशलिस्ट कहते हैं ग्रेटेस्ट नंबर ऑफ ग्रेटेस्ट हैप्पीनेस होना चाहिए था, ना कि ग्रेटेस्ट हैप्पीनेस ऑफ ग्रेटेस्ट नंबर होना चाहिए। ठीक है, हाँ, अब कल पूछ लियो। हाँ, जोशिका पूछो।
This appeal of conscience. We have Article 25 of conscience.
हम्म।
Say this is the critique.
हाँ, तो हमारा तो
अलग-अलग interpret करते
हाँ,
हैं,
हाँ,
like
हाँ,
I'm
हाँ।
attending something or any individual, let's say. Many different
Freedom of conscience means freedom to remember the God, freedom to remember and worship your God in your own way, not hurting the sentiments of other.
Their subjectivity.
तो बहुत सारी चीजों में सब्जेक्टिविटी है।
Can we criticize?
नहीं, एक सेकंड। हाँ जी जोशिका, आदित्य कल पूछ लियो। I'll come early in the class. You can ask your doubts tomorrow first. Yes, Josika.
Sir, there's a statement in UP Kaba on Bentham that Bentham but equal freedom of each individual postulates equality. Therefore, man's liberty must be limited and conditioned by the ultimate test of general welfare. I had doubt over here.
आपको हर चीज नहीं पढ़नी ना, जोशी का बेंथम सिलेबस में नहीं है, जितना बेंथम पढ़ाया है उतना पढ़ना है। बहुत सारी चीजें आपको पढ़ाई ही नहीं है, वो आपको बेंथम थोड़ी ना जानना है। अब आप बेंथम पे कोई और बुक पढ़ लोगे तो बेंथम थोड़ी ना पढ़ना है, समझ रहे हो बात? वहां पे हेडोनिज्म के 4 टाइप्स लिखे हैं, वो थोड़ी ना समझना, वो फिलॉसफी है। गलत अप्रोच से पढ़ रहे हो आप। बेंथम इज नॉट इम्पोर्टेंट। Bentham's concept of utilitarianism is important. Who is the father of utilitarianism? Bentham. Are you are listening?
Yes, sir. Actually,
So you need to ignore that line.
okay, sir.
Your voice is breaking. I think there's a problem in your camera.
Yes, sir. I think there's a network
You can
issue.
call me. You can call me after 15-20 minutes. Okay. And send the screenshot. I'll give you the explanation.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, Joseph.